Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna devotees, so I am back.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So, Hare Krishna. So let us take up our 10th shloka now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Only the sloka and translation we have read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Purport we have to do.
Yeah, we will read the shloka again and then we will start. 10th shloka. Karmibhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yayur jnaninas tebhyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama premaika nisthastata tebhyasta pashupala pankaja drishas tabhyopi saradhika preshta tadvadiyam tadiya sarasi kamna shrayet kakriti. Translation. In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. So the point here is, one who has learned the higher values of life, that is spiritual. Higher values of life is actually spiritual. So anyone who has come to the spiritual path is considered higher than someone who is working for fruitive work. That means to enjoy the fruits of his action. Such a person is inferior to a person who has come to the spiritual path of realizing I am a spirit soul and I have a higher destination than to enjoy material sense gratification. It is even higher than Swargaloka. We are talking about fruitive workers means all types of fruitive workers. All types of fruitive workers means either he wants to enjoy in this material world or in the various higher planetary systems up to Brahmaloka. All of them are called fruitive workers. And higher than them is one who has come to the higher values of life, which is to know that I am a spirit soul and I have an eternal destination. Either it is moksha or through bhakti, back home, back to God. So he is considered higher. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, that is, they are called jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. So out of all jnanis, one who is liberated by that jnana, he becomes eligible for devotion. You may be wondering, where do I stand in this paradigm? Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. May take, rarely. He is superior to the others. So the ladder, we are climbing. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. So Krishna prema is higher than all forms of devotion, jnana and karma. Prema is higher. The gopis are exalted. So however, one who has actually attained prema or pure love of Krishna is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. So what is the highest prema? Is to become totally dependent on Gopala Krishna. Right? To become totally dependent on him. They are the most advanced devotees of Krishna. Totally dependent. Among the gopis who are all totally dependent, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Now we may be wondering, gopis are completely surrendered, completely dependent. How can somebody be even higher than the gopis? So this is the beauty of everything spiritual. In the spiritual world, even though they are all perfect, we have the concept of more perfect, most perfect. So gopis are perfect, but Radharani is even more perfect than the gopis. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna because she is the most perfect. She is most dear. Why she is most perfect? She is most surrendered to Krishna. That's why. Her kunda, lake, is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kunda? Because Radha Kunda and Radharani are same. And Krishna equally loves them both. Who will not reside at Radhakunda and in a spiritual body, surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, aprakrita bhava, that means non-material bhava, feelings, that is spiritual feelings. So in the spiritual body, with spiritual devotional feelings, he will render loving service to the divine couple of Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakaliya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakunda are the most fortunate people in the universe. So this is what we are told by Rupa Goswami as the highest, most sublime knowledge of this Upadeshamrita. The highest knowledge is to know I want to reside on the bank of Radhakunda and serve Sri Sri Radha Govinda in their Ashtapragariya Leela, in my spiritual body, with all spiritual feelings, I want to serve them. And such a person is the most fortunate in the whole universe. Radhakunda is the holiest place in the universe. And one who lives on the bank of the Radhakunda in the spiritual body, with spiritual feelings, serving Sri Sri Radha Govinda in their eightfold daily pastimes, they are the most fortunate people. Yeah, I think you can start reading the purports and then we discuss. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. May I read, Prabhuji?
Okay, Netaji, yes.
Hare Krishna. At the present moment, almost everyone is engaged in some kind of fruitive activity. Those who are desirous of gaining material profits by working are called karmis, or fruitive workers. All living entities within this material world have come under the spell of Maya. This is described in the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetra Jnana Tata Para Avidya Karma Sabhyana Tritiya Saktir Ishyate. Sages have divided the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead into three categories, namely the spiritual energy, marginal energy, and material energy. The material energy is considered to be the third class energy, Tritiya Shakti. Those living beings within the jurisdictions of the material energy sometimes engage themselves like dogs and hogs in working very hard simply for sense gratification. However, in this life or after executing pious activities, in the next life, some karmis become strongly attracted to performing various kinds of sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. Thus, on the strength of their pious merit, they are elevated to heavenly planets. Actually, those who perform sacrifices strictly according to Vedic injunctions are elevated to the moon and planets above the moon. As mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.21, Kishine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti. After exhausting the results of their so-called pious activities, they again return to the earth, which is called Martya Loka, the place of death. Although such persons may be elevated to the heavenly planets by their pious activities, and although they may enjoy life there for many thousands of years, they nonetheless must return to this planet when the results of their pious activities are exhausted.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So, two important types of people are covered here. One is that people who work like dogs and cats to simply enjoy. Yes, Mataji?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, sorry to interrupt, Prabhu. Before you told about the spiritual body, no, Prabhu, how can we get the spiritual body? And what we should do to get that spiritual body, or how to realize the spiritual body when we are in this as a devotee here.
Thank you, Mataji. But this Upadeshamritam is very concise. So it is only giving you like the rules, what you have to do. For more detailed information, we should go to Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam opens the doors to our spiritual life. So this is basically to elevate a human being to the level of spiritual life. So that's what Upadeshamritam does. How to enter into spiritual life? We have to control all the Vegas. We have to do actions favorable to devotion. We should give up actions not favorable to devotion. We should have 6 kinds of exchanges with devotees. We should discriminate among devotees based on who is superior and inferior on the basis of realization. We should not discriminate on the basis of external situations like rich devotee, poor devotee, high caste devotee, low caste devotee, and all those things. Then we are told about the value of the holy name, the name, form, activities of Lord Krishna. Then we are told 24 hours we should chant the holy names and we should live in the Vrajadham. Then in Vrajadham, we are now learning how Radha Kund is most superior, and among the people, how devotees are most superior and most fortunate. Like that, the essence is being conveyed through Upadeshamritam. With this, our curiosity, as you know, you cannot even wait. You want to ask this question, how to get my spiritual body? So that is the whole business of ISKCON. You know? The whole business of ISKCON is how to get our spiritual body. And of course, the most important recommendation for us is to chant the holy names incessantly. Prabhupada says, incessantly means 24 hours.
Okay.
In the right mood, we should go on chanting. Mahaprabhu has given us this greatest mercy. What is impossible to obtain, Mahaprabhu has brought it within our reach. And that's why Srila Prabhupada, despite so much inconveniences, he took the trouble to go to the West and bring this knowledge to those people. And by the empowerment of Krishna, the hippies accepted the preachings of Srila Prabhupada. The most unlikely people to accept spiritual life, Prabhupada was able to transform them. Look at the power of this message and look at the power of the parampara to deliver this message. So we should all become that way serious in our spiritual life. And the spiritual body is awarded to us like, Narada Muni says in Srimad Bhagavatam, just like the lightning happens, lightning, the material body disappeared and spiritual body was awarded to him. When he was completely absorbed in the Lord, he did not even know that his material body has gone and he's got a spiritual body. Or you can see Parikshit Maharaj, even before the snake bird comes to bite him, he has taken, Sukadeva Goswami has left him saying, all right, whatever I have to tell you, I have told you. And then Parikshit Maharaj takes his permission. Oh, Sukadeva Goswami, please allow me now to absorb myself in Krishna on the basis of whatever you have told me. Sukadeva Goswami gives permission and leaves the place. He doesn't even wait to see what happens because he knows now Parikshit has already got a spiritual body. Now, how does it matter snake bird coming and biting? It's only a formality. Not really any relevant. Parikshit Maharaj has already obtained his spiritual body by listening to Sukadeva Goswami for 7 days and nights. In the right attitude, in the right bhava. He's already free, liberated. So what happens? Parikshit Maharaj sits in his Padmasana and totally absorbed in the Lord. And then the snake bird comes in the form of a Brahmana. Then that Brahmana becomes a snake and he bites him and immediately Parikshit's body bursts out into flames and gone. And all the rishis and saints are assembled there. They, what happened? What happened? But no, Parikshit has already gone back home, back to God. Burning the body is just a ritual. How does it matter? Sukadeva Goswami simply left. He did not wait. Now let me see what happens to my disciple. He did not even wait. So because it is irrelevant. Our body is not at all relevant. It is only the spiritual body which is relevant. And we have to save the spiritual body, not this material body. Saving the material body is like saving the shirt of a drowning man. So like that, if we follow the spiritual life as Srila Prabhupada has taught us, if we follow the morning program sincerely, then the gates will open and we will obtain our spiritual body. So even now, even though my body is spiritual, by engaging in spiritual activities, I spiritualize my body. Prabhupada would say this mic system was created by a scientist and it is some material thing. But when I am using for propagating Krishna consciousness, I have spiritualized it. So the business of a devotee is to spiritualize all matter around him. You spiritualize everything just by using it in Krishna's service. Now we have a body, we have our senses, we have a mind, we have an intelligence, we have some properties with us, we have our family. We can spiritualize everything. Everything can be spiritualized. If we act in the mood of servant of Krishna, and everything is the property of Krishna. And in that mood, if I organize my life, I spiritualize it right away. My senses become spiritualized. My sense objects become spiritualized. So this is the process which is given to us by Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada would say, a devotee does not go out of the way to increase material things or material comforts, etc. But what is available by the hard work of materialistic people, by using it in the service of Krishna, he spiritualizes them, and the benefit also goes to those people who created them. When Prabhupada uses all these scientific instruments, when Prabhupada flies in the air to continent to preach Krishna consciousness, he's spiritualizing the airplane. He's spiritualizing the airplane company. All the people associated, they get the benefit also. Spirituality is so very powerful. When we chant the holy name, we are benefiting the whole creation. The vibrations of the holy name spreads to the whole creation. That's why Mahaprabhu gives so much importance to Sankirtan movement. It is so very powerful. The holy name, the vibrations of the holy name, they are extremely powerful. So as far as we are concerned, we are in our spiritual body as long as we are engaging in spiritual activities. We minimize our material activities only to keep the soul and body together. Why we keep soul and body together? So that I can use this body in the service of Krishna nicely without any disturbance. Then it is all spiritual one. So we should never get confused when we see, we are told, we should not see our spiritual master as an ordinary human being, because we can sometimes see our spiritual master lying down and sleeping, or sitting and eating his prasadam, or he is passing stool and urine. All these things. By that we cannot think our spiritual, or sometimes he is yawning. Oh, he is acting like a human being only. Even Krishna acted like a human being, and everybody became confused. So spiritual master is completely spiritual. We should have that understanding with us. So all these things will help us to spiritualize. More and more we stay in the association of devotees, we keep hearing scriptures, and we keep engaging in spiritual activities without being attached to fruits of whatever we are doing. We are progressing nicely in the spiritual path. So that is why, very nicely, as you have correctly asked this question, in a spiritual body, surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings. That is the way to serve in Radha Kunda. So not that by buying a ticket, I will go to Radha Kunda and I will start serving there right away. But yes, the desire to live on the banks of Radha Kunda itself is extremely powerful and extremely purifying. We should have the desire that somehow I should develop the right sentiments, right mood to go and live in Radha Kunda, where I will serve without any aparad. I should not cause any dham aparad, Vaishnava aparad, to the dham vasis, I should not commit any aparad. In that way, we have to live there. For that, we have to develop a lot of humility and service attitude. So these things will be awarded to us by the mercy of Krishna. Till that time, we keep going on the path that has been laid out for us by Srila Prabhupada. We don't have to look left and right. We simply follow on the path that Prabhupada has laid for us.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please continue, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Somebody else will read? Or should I?
Yeah.
This is the position of all karmis, including those who act piously and those who act impiously. On this planet, we find many businessmen, politicians, and others who are simply interested in material happiness. They attempt to earn money by all means, not considering whether such means are pious or impious. Such people are called karmis or gross materialists. Among the karmis are some vikarmis, people who act without the guidance of Vedic knowledge. Those who act on the basis of Vedic knowledge perform sacrifices for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu and to receive benedictions from him. In this way, they are elevated to higher planetary systems. Such karmis are superior to the vikarmis, for they are faithful to the directions of the Vedas and are certainly dear to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Krishna says, Ye yata mam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajami aham. In whatever way one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. Krishna is so kind that he fulfilled the desires of the karmis and jnanis, not to speak of the bhaktas. Although the karmis are sometimes elevated to higher planetary systems, as long as they remain attached to fruitive activities, they must accept new material bodies after death. If one acts piously, he can attain a new body among the demigods in the higher planetary systems, or he may attain some other positions in which he can enjoy a higher standard of material happiness. On the other hand, those who are engaged in impious activities are degraded and take birth as animals, trees, and plants. Thus, those fruitive actors who do not care for the Vedic directions, Vikarmis, are not appreciated by the learned saintly persons. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4, Nunam Pramataha Kurute Vikarma Yed Indriya Pritaya Aparnoti न साधु मान्ये यत आत्मनो अयम asan api kleshada asa deha. Materialists who work hard like dogs and hogs simply for sense gratifications are actually mad. They simply perform all kinds of abominable activities simply for sense gratification. Materialist activities are not at all worthy of an intelligent man, for as a result of such activities, one gets a material body which is full of misery. The purpose of human life is to get out of the threefold miserable conditions which are concomitant with material existence. Unfortunately, fruitive workers are mad to earn money and acquire temporary material comforts by all means. Therefore, they risk being degraded to lower species of life. Materialists foolishly make many plans to become happy in this material world. They do not stop to consider that they will live only for a certain number of years, out of which they must spend the major portion acquiring money for sense gratification. Ultimately, such activities end in death. Materialists do not consider that after giving up the body, they may become embodied as lower animals, plants, or trees. Thus, all their activities simply defeat the purpose of life. Not only are they born ignorant, but they act on the platform of ignorance, thinking that they are getting material benefits in the shape of skyscraper buildings, big cars, honorable positions, and so on. The materialists do not know that in the next life they will be degraded and that all their activities simply serve as parabhava, their defeat. This is the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.5. Parabhavas tavad abhodak jataha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you.
Prabhuji.
So basically, we have dealt with two types of people. One is vikarmis, and then we have karmis. So vikarmis are those people who don't even know the scriptural injunctions. They don't respect the scriptures. They don't respect the gurus, and they don't realize that we have to follow certain rules in our life. As a human being, we are superior to hogs and dogs, and we should not live like them. We have to follow certain rules which are given to us by higher authority, and we have to follow that. So vikarmis are those people who are also looking for sense gratification. Karmis are also people who are looking for sense gratification. But the difference is vikarmis are not following any rules. So they are like dogs and hogs, only interested in sense gratification. And they will be degraded to lower species like animals, plants, etc. So they won't be able to maintain their human form when they die because of their inferior engagements. They are breaking the laws of God. They are not even recognizing that. They want only sense gratification. So they are called vikarmis. They are doing actions which are forbidden. Then you come to karmis. Among karmis, the people who are either trying to get benefits in this material world to enjoy various kinds of sense gratification here, or they want to go to higher planetary systems like Chandraloka, Indraloka, and even higher planets up to Brahmaloka, they have to perform various activities recommended in the Vedas. And accordingly, they become elevated to higher planetary systems. they are dear to the Lord. Even though they are on the first step of spiritual life, even they are considered dear by Lord. Vikarmis are like dogs and hogs. They are wasting their human form. But at least the karmis, they have come to accept the injunctions of the scriptures and to believe in them and to follow them. So they are elevated. In this material world, they enjoy various pleasures, and when they die, they go to various higher planetary systems. But their punya account is slowly debited, and one day punya exhausted, they come back to this material world. After coming back, they will continue to do punya karya, out of which their past karma vasanas. They will continue to engage in pious activities, and they will go back to the heavenly planets, and like that, they will be caught up in this circle of doing pious activities here and going to heavenly planets and enjoying it there. So these are
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, they won't go back to Godhead, even by doing pious activities in their next birth.
Pious activities don't take you back home, back to God.
Oh.
No pious activity takes you. The entire karma kanda is meant for heavenly planets only, either to enjoy in this world or to be elevated to heavenly planets. Punya account cannot take you back home, back to God.
But in the next birth, suppose he remembers Krishna and he turns towards Krishna's lotus feet, then will he be back home to Godhead?
Remembering Krishna only comes from another path. You have to get bhakti sukriti, agyada sukriti, you have to accumulate, and that transforms into shraddha. Once you have sufficient credits of this agyada sukriti, then you will come to shraddha, then you will get devotee association. When you have developed that minimum faith in the devotional scriptures and you get the association of devotees, then you start performing your sadhana bhakti. And then gradually your shraddha grows, and eventually shraddha transforms into bhava and Krishna prema. So this is a path which is nothing to do with punya or papa. Papa takes you down, punya takes you up, but it's all a cycle only. Hell is also temporary. It's also temporary. The spiritual world is eternal. Yes, Mataji.
Sorry for interrupting, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so when we are carrying on bhakti, is it important to understand whether we are doing any punya or papa in between, Prabhuji? Like any pious deed we do, are we required to be cautious, Prabhuji, or it will come on its own, Prabhuji? Like how do we have to be careful whether we are doing any pious deed? That is my doubt, Prabhuji.
Yeah, basically an activity is pious or impious because of the motive, because of the motive behind it. So if your motive is only to go back home, back to Godhead, and all your activities are motivated only by that, then all your papa and punya are destroyed. There is no papa or punya. Once you take to Krishna Bhakti and you are performing devotional activities and you have only one goal, to go back home, back to Godhead, then none of your activities, punya or papa, will bear fruit. They will not bear fruit. They are like roasted seeds, roasted seeds. They don't grow. They don't sprout.
But what about the neophyte devotees then, Prabhuji? Like those who are just come into bhakti, what happens to them, Prabhuji? For them also, is it the same, or they still have a long way to go, Prabhuji?
Let me ask you one question. Who is a neophyte devotee?
That is one who is just started chanting, doesn't know much about bhakti and the Sagyata Sukriti and Papa Punya, all those things, Prabhuji.
A neophyte devotee is chanting. For what he is chanting?
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Again, this one comes in.
Why we do what we do?
Okay.
Why we do what we do is what is most important.
To fulfill their material desires, Prabhu.
That why we do will become gradually purified if you perform your sadhana in the association of devotees. And if you are regularly hearing, then your motive will become purified. You remember the other class we discussed about Abhilasha, the Shraddha and Swabhava. Shraddha, yes, Swabhava. So you have to purify your Shraddha. You have to Give up your swabhava, which means anarthas. The anarthas are material desires. Anarthas are all material desires, including the desire to go to Brahmaloka. It's all anartha. They arise from our swabhava only. But as a devotee, when you are able to recognize that Krishna Prem is my only goal, I want to go back home and to serve Krishna. I don't want anything else. Then, as you said, your Papa and Punya lose their power. They have no power.
Okay, Prabhuji. So if I understand correctly, Prabhuji, so till that point, will I be accruing Papa Punya if I don't have that goal in mind, Prabhuji? Is that
Naturally, no. See, Krishna is very merciful.
correct?
Please recognize that Krishna is very merciful. As long as you have any other desire, apart from desiring Krishna, he will fulfill all those desires first.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeyatamam prapatyante tamstataiva bhajamya. As you surrender to me, so I reward. So if you are surrendering to Krishna, but you are still retaining some material desires, then Krishna will fulfill those desires. Only when you desire only Krishna and you have no other desire, then he will take you back home. So Prabhupada once said, even if you desire a gulab jamun, you will have to take birth for that. To enjoy gulab jamun.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this is not because Krishna is so cruel. It is only because Krishna is so merciful. That, okay, if you still entertain any material desires, I will fulfill all those so that you will have no contamination of anything matter in you. You will be pure spirit, only as a pure devotee of Krishna. Then he will take you.
Okay, Prabhuji.
The Krishna Prema should completely take possession of your soul. Then you will go back. So we have seen Vikarmi, we have seen Karmi, and beyond Karmi, we see Jnani. Jnani is one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I am taking this question to a different tangent. Is that that's why our acharyas say that Radharani Radhamai is so important for a neophyte devotee, so that she prepares you with all these. You have to go through them, or through a bhakta you have to approach Krishna, because you don't know what you are doing and how you are doing. So probably that's why a guru, a devotee has to be the one. That's why you are said that you have to think that you are servant of servant. So that if you follow that and reach Radharani through them, you approach Krishna, it'll become much easier. Your bhakti will be, you will be guided fast. Is that so? Or?
Very true. Radharani, we chant every day to Srimati Radharani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Yes,
That
sir.
Hare is Srimati Radharani. She is the internal energy of Krishna. So our prayer is to the internal energy, please engage us in the service of Krishna. Please engage me in the service of Krishna. That is a prayer. No. So that way, actually, another important thing about Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva means Krishna and all his expansions, they are all Vishnu Tattva. All his personal expansions. Swayam, Swarupa, his own expansion. They are all having the mood of servant only. Starting from Balramji. Balramji is direct expansion of Krishna. But his mood is to serve Krishna. Even though he is the elder brother of Krishna, his mood is of a servant only. And then all expansions come from Balramji only. They are all direct expansions of Krishna. They are all called Vishnu Tattva. All of them have the mood of servanthood only. So Balramji is called Adi Guru because he is demonstrating how you should have the mood of serving. So he is serving Krishna in so many personal ways, like he becomes the bed, he becomes the chappals, he becomes the pitambar, he becomes the crown, he becomes the umbrella, he becomes the yajnapavitam, he becomes everything. Apart from that, he is serving as a servant, Dasya Bhav, then Sakhya, he is a friend, Vatsalya, he is serving as an elder brother, And Madhurya, he's serving as Ananga Manjari, as the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. In all these ways, Balramji is serving Krishna. So from the lowest to the highest, he is serving Krishna. And in terms of running the material world, he expands into Purusha Avatara, into Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksai Vishnu, Kshirodaksai Vishnu. As Shesha now, as Shesha is carrying all the material universes on his head. So he's serving in unlimited ways. And he's never satisfied serving Krishna. Same way, he's constantly glorifying Krishna. He is never satisfied. He's always chanting the glories of Krishna. So we see Balramji as our spiritual master, Adi Guru. And the entire parampara, they are representatives of Balramji. Balramji is supreme personality of servitor Godhead. Except Krishna, all of them have the mood of servants of Krishna. And what about Krishna himself? Krishna feels that he is a servant of all his devotees. Krishna's mood is also, I am the servant of all my devotees. That is Krishna's mood. So this is the way we progress, by cultivating the mood of humility and the mood of gratitude and the desire to serve in this mood to Krishna and to all other living entities. When we have that mood of service, then we are entitled to go back home back. So as you very correctly said, Radharani as the internal energy of Krishna, she is most capable of giving happiness to Krishna. She is most capable of pleasing Krishna. So we are all following in her footsteps and we are requesting her, please engage me. And she has unlimited ways of serving Krishna, because Krishna has unlimited ways of enjoying. Because Krishna has unlimited desires and unlimited ways of enjoying, all the souls have a role to play in pleasing Krishna. That is the arrangement of Krishna for all of us. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have one question.
Thank you.
Regarding karmis and vikarmis. I'll give an example. I would like to understand this better because I have asked many people and I still have a lack of clarity. For example, if in healthcare, there are doctors who are doing procedures which are not required and not in the interest of the patient all the time. It could be to increase the income for the hospital or something. Or there is also a thing that when investigations are sent out, there is a cutback policy. If 10,000 rupees test is done in a laboratory, 4,000 rupees is paid to the doctor who refers it. That is the practice going on across the country. Now, is this karma or vikarma? This, to my knowledge, is sinful activity, and it is not what is taught in our colleges, taught by our professors when we study, but when we come out, we practice all sorts of rubbish. So this, I would like to understand whether this is karma or vikarma, because from the scriptural background.
Desire for sense gratification is the goal for both karmi and vikarmi.
Yes, Prabhu.
It is only sense gratification which both of them are aspiring for.
Yes.
But karmi is aspiring for legitimate sense gratification which is approved by the scripture.
Right, Prabhu.
So the moment you bring the topic of karmi, you come to karma kanda in the scripture. So anything which is outside this, if I don't honor the karma kanda, if I don't follow the injunctions of karma kanda, but I still aspire for sense gratification,
right,
all my actions fall in the category of vikarma.
Yes. And one more thing is, if somebody in the organization is forcing this person to do such activities and the person is still, to keep his job or something, he keeps doing it. So the share of vikarma will fall on everyone, right?
Actually, it's a very deep question, and I'll give you a hint on how to approach it.
Right.
There is something called choices.
Correct. Free will.
Free will and choices.
Right.
In front of everyone, there are choices. How you will exercise these choices is determined by two factors. One is our past karma,
Correct, Prabhu.
which will automatically drive you to make your choices. Though it's almost like you have no choice.
Yes.
Supposing there is a huge pasture ground and there is a pole in the center and a cow is tied to that pole, the length of the rope will determine how much ground the cow can cover,
Yes.
even though the pasture ground is unlimited.
Yes.
Same way, there are unlimited choices in creation, but each of us will be faced with choices on the basis of our past karma. Somebody is a millionaire, he has some choices. A billionaire has even more choices. A lakpati has even less choices. This lakh or crore was earned by him on the basis of his previous activities.
Right.
So in that sense, in front of each of us, there are choices, including a doctor.
Yes.
There are choices. The doctor or the individual should never say, I have no choice.
Yes.
He can never say, I am forced.
Correct, Prabhu.
Making the choice is still the individual's decision. The individual has to choose what kind of lifestyle I want to follow, what kind of life I want to give my family, my dependents, etc. What kind of life is acceptable to me. These are all inner choices we are making, even when we say, I am forced. We feel the force and we say, I did not do it. I'll give you a very stark example of Second World War. In the Second World War, Hitler was a dictator and he had so many generals working under him. And he gave them such a task to kill innocent people. The Jews, they picked up Jews, put them in concentration camps, they put them into gas chambers, they created mass burial grounds, they would shoot them, push them in and cover them with soil. All these kinds of things happened. And when the World War ended, there was a war trial. And Hitler committed suicide. In the war trial, these generals who are ordinary people like you and I, they were called for trial. And they were asked, why did you do such innocent people? You know they are innocent people. Why did you kill them so mercilessly, cruelly, heartlessly? Why did you do? Can you guess what answer they gave? Prabhu?
Because they participated in the crime.
Yeah. Why did they participate?
They did not exercise the free will to the choice they exercised to carry on the orders.
They said we were under orders.
Yes.
Do you accept that answer?
They were forced to.
They said we are forced. If I don't do it, either I lose my job or I lose my life. How do I take care of my family? So many people are dependent on me. So I was forced to do what I did. And they did such unacceptable activities like killing hundreds and thousands of people, innocent people, just because I want to save my life.
Yes.
And I thought their lives are less valuable than my own.
Correct.
So these are choices we make. How can we say forced?
Yes.
So ultimately, there are choices. But a spiritually enlightened man knows that these choices exist.
Yes.
A person who is not spiritually open, they will not see the existence of choices also.
Yes.
Because the gunas will drive them to act in particular ways.
Yes.
They will act by the guna and they will always say, I had no choice. I had no choice. I had no choice.
Yes, sir.
If we are spiritually enlightened, we see the choices. And then we see our responsibility for the first time.
Yes.
We start seeing my responsibility, how to act. Actually, there is a very beautiful quote. It says, if the world eventually gets destroyed by human action, that will not be because the number of cruel people have increased in the world.
Yes.
It's not because the number of cruel or wicked people has increased, but it will be only because spineless people have increased and who are willing to accept any order which is given to act mindlessly.
Yes.
Because this is what happened. People will not be wicked, actually.
Yes.
But people will think so narrowly.
Yes.
It is my existential problem. I will do whatever I am asked to do because of my existential problem. But you see, the mafia commands so much loyalty, you see. Nowhere else you will see such loyalty as you see in the mafia.
Yes. Yes.
So the world is now controlled by mafiosi only.
Yes.
Different kinds of mafiosi. Some are drug mafiosi, some are really pharma mafiosi. So we have to accept this. But the fact remains, choices are always there. And the
Yes.
choices become more and more visible as we spiritually advance.
Yes.
And choices eventually become infinite when I am completely pure. And even in the face of these infinite choices, I will always choose Krishna only.
Yes.
A pure devotee is the
Yes.
one who has unlimited choices.
Yes,
So
Prabhu.
there's no karma. He's no longer bound. The pole and the rope are not there.
Yes.
But he will choose Krishna, Krishna, Krishna always.
Yes, Prabhu.
So this is how the spiritual path is ordained like that. We eventually move towards more choices, then we become more responsible. You see, amazing. No? Is
Yes.
it not amazing?
Correct, Prabhu.
As I become more and more responsible, more and more choices are opened out for
Yes.
me. It's amazing arrangement of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for such clarity, Prabhu.
Thank you. Whatever I have learned, I am sharing. That's all.
It really, I think I found the answer to this question after a long time. Because I think these are probably the things that we face on a day-to-day basis. Like you said, the choices do open up. Only we have to advance in Krishna consciousness and take to it more seriously. And really, I mean, Krishna consciousness is not something which will come automatically to us. We have to really work hard for it. That's what I realized. And I hope I can advance further. And thanks for the clarity.
Mahaprabhu has made it so easy for us. No? Prabhupada has made it even more easy for us.
Yes.
Simply chant the holy names, and
Yes.
have devotee association. We have to do morning program to the best of our ability. We have to
Yes.
hear.
Yes.
There are very simple processes that have been given to us. No?
Correct.
So as long as we do it, it will automatically happen to us.
Yes. Yes.
All our bonds will be removed from us. All our bonds will be removed. Whereas,
Yes.
that's a very nice example given. If you are in a dark room and if you want to get rid of darkness, by kicking the darkness, you cannot kick it out. You cannot make it go away.
Yes.
Just you light a lamp and the darkness disappears.
Yes.
So, just by following the spiritual path, all unwanted things in our life will clear automatically. You don't
Yes.
have to make special efforts. For example, you don't have to make a special effort to become truthful. You don't have to make a special effort to become free from lust or anger. Nothing.
Yes.
But as long as you sincerely practice Krishna consciousness, all these higher qualities will appear in you. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam says.
Yes. True.
Yasya bhaktir bhagavate kinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate suraha. All the qualities equal to the gods, it will appear in a devotee automatically. Just by
Yes.
bhakti. Whereas in a non-devotee, this is a very strong statement. In a non-devotee, even if you see some good qualities, don't pay too much attention to that because it is temporary. It will go away.
Yes.
Situations change, these qualities will change because they are material qualities, you see. But in a devotee, the qualities that appear are spiritual qualities, they are eternal qualities. They cannot be covered up.
Yes.
So devotees automatically develop these qualities.
Yes. True.
And you don't have to take another path. Okay, one side I am doing devotion, another side I am cultivating good qualities. Not really. If
Yes.
you are doing bhakti as prescribed by Prabhupada, then these qualities will automatically appear in you. So you can make a review of yourself periodically.
Yes.
You can review. Am I changing? What good qualities am I acquiring? What bad qualities I am giving up? You will see amazing changes will come. Just by doing so. Because this is as per scriptures, who can falsify the scriptures? It's not possible. Hare Krishna. Thank you, brother. So
Thank
let's read another couple of paragraphs before we close.
Should I continue or somebody else, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Either way, no problem.
Shall I?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
One should therefore be eager to understand the science of the soul, Atma Tattva, unless one comes to the platform of Atma Tattva, by which one understands that the soul and not the body is oneself, one remains on the platform of ignorance. Out of thousands and even millions of ignorant people who are wasting their time simply gratifying their senses, one may come to the platform of knowledge and understand higher values of life. Such a person is called a jnani. The jnani knows that fruitive activities will bind him to material existence and cause him to transmigrate from one kind of body to another, as indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam by the term Sharira Bandha, bound by bodily existence. As long as one maintains any conception of sense enjoyment, his mind will be absorbed in karma, fruitive activity, and this will oblige him to transmigrate from one body to another. Thus, a jnani is considered superior to the karmi because he at least refrains from the blind activities of sense enjoyment. This is the verdict of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, although a jnani may be liberated from the ignorance of the karmis, unless he comes to the platform of devotional service, he is still considered to be in ignorance, avidya. Although one may be accepted as a jnani or one advanced in knowledge, his knowledge is considered impure because he has no information of devotional service and thus neglects the direct worship of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hare
And in
Krishna.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
one moment. I just want to make one comment here. Just see how someone who is considered knowledgeable from a particular analysis is considered ignorant from a higher level. So knowledge also has layers, So from a vikarmi to karmi, there is definitely higher knowledge. And from karmi to jnani and jnani to devotee, again there is higher knowledge. So from a higher level, a person in the lower level appears ignorant, but from an even lower level, that person who was ignorant, he appears to be knowledgeable. So Prabhupada is telling, a jnani is considered knowledgeable from a particular perspective, but because he doesn't have knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead, actually he is ignorant of it. So that point Prabhupada is giving. So we have to understand that we should be very careful in dealing with the word, especially when it comes to preaching. We should be very careful that there will be always arguments and different ways of looking at, what is knowledge. So jnani will say, I am knowledgeable. A devotee will say, I am knowledgeable. Karmi will also say, I am knowledgeable. Because each of them has a particular adhikar. The adhikar means qualification. For them, the light is available only up to a point. As you go to higher and higher levels, the light expands. So that is why in third chapter also, Krishna said, don't disturb. They have lesser adhikar. Somebody has karma adhikar. Engage them in karma and elevate them gradually. Don't tell them they are wrong. They should not do it. They should give it up. All these things. Even sense gratification. You should not say it is wrong. Only engage them according to the scriptures. You perform your actions and you will get the results. So that is very, very important. It is not that it is either light or darkness. You see? Either light or darkness. No, there are layers to it. So from the most ignorant to the most knowledgeable, there are many, many layers. So we should see jnani is knowledgeable in one way, but is ignorant in another higher sense. Yeah, Hare Krishna. I think we will finish this shloka today. So please continue to read.
Okay. When a jnani takes to devotional service, he rapidly becomes a superior to an ordinary jnani. Such an advanced person is described as a jnana vimukta bhakti parama. How a jnani takes to devotional service is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, wherein Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvam miti samahatma sadurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Actually, a person is wise when he surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna, but such a Mahatma, a great soul, is very rare.
Just one comment here. Jnana vimukta bhakti parama. we saw the term here. Jnana vimukta, that means it's gone beyond jnana also. See, from karma, somebody reaches the jnana platform, then jnana vimukta, he gives up jnana and he goes to parama, bhakti parama. So bhakti is higher than jnana because at the level of bhakti, prema unfolds. Jnana is at the level of chit. You know, we talk about sat chit ananda, right? Sat chit. At the level of jnana, chit is unfolding. But when you go to ananda, this inferior chit, it winds up. It is no longer required. At parama, bhakti parama, you are experiencing ananda. That is under the Yogamaya influence. She handles the jnana there. For you, it is only ananda. So like that, it is higher and higher levels. Jnana vimukta means free from jnana. And bhakti parama, higher bhakti, he has gone to that. So there is a thing used. And here again, Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam. A jnani, after taking many, many births, he realizes the supreme truth is Krishna only. Vasudeva Sarvam. Only Krishna has expanded as everything. Till that time, jnani has an impersonal conception. Oh, supreme truth is a formless something. It is a potential. It's all these things they will use. It is a reservoir of all energy. It has no form. It will take form when required. It will come temporarily. It will perform its activities in the material world, and again it will disappear in the formless. All this nonsense. That is a so-called jnana. But Prabhupada says, ultimately a jnani realizes, no, supreme truth is actually a person, and that is Lord Krishna. So that is such a person is very rare according to Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. After taking to devotional service under the regulative principles, a person may come to the platform of spontaneous love of Godhead, following in the footsteps of great devotees like Narada and Shanka and Sanatana. Sanaka and Sanatana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then recognizes him to be superior. The devotees who have developed love of Godhead are certainly in an exalted position.
Clear? So if you have developed love of Godhead, which is at the level of bhava and prema, they are in an exalted position. A sadhana bhakta is moving towards that, towards this stage of love of Godhead. Right now we don't have love of Godhead, so we are following the instructions of the spiritual master. That is called Vaidhi, following the Vidhi, the rules of the Bhakti scriptures, and we are performing devotion. So we are called Vaidhi sadhana bhaktas. But by practicing sincerely, one day we'll develop love of Godhead. As we saw, initially a jaundiced person doesn't taste sugar. It is bitter for him. But continuously tasting sugar, one day the bitterness disappears and he experiences sweetness. Sugar has not changed, but the person has changed. From illness he has come to wellness, and he is now experiencing the taste of sugar. So same way only here, the Supreme Lord becomes accessible once all the impurities have been given up. So that then the love completely manifests in the heart of the devotee. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Of all these devotees, the gopis are recognized as superior because they do not know anything other than satisfying Krishna. Nor do the gopis expect any return from Krishna. Indeed, sometimes Krishna puts them into extreme suffering by separating himself from them. Nonetheless, they cannot forget Krishna. When Krishna left Vrindavana for Mathura, the gopis became most dejected and spent the rest of their lives simply crying in separation from Krishna. This means that in one sense, they were never actually separated from Krishna. There is no difference between thinking of Krishna.
Please underline this sentence. This means that sentence, please underline. Yeah.
Okay, this means that one sense they were never actually separated from Krishna. There is no difference between thinking of Krishna and associating with him. Rather, Vipralamba Seva, thinking of Krishna in separation, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. Thus, of all the devotees who have developed unalloyed devotional love for Krishna, the gopis are most exalted, and out of all these exalted gopis, Srimati Radharani is the highest. No one can excel the devotional service of Srimati Radharani. Indeed, even Krishna cannot understand the attitude of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, he took her position and appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to understand her transcendental feelings. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami gradually concludes that Srimati Radharani is the most exalted devotee of Krishna, and that her Kunda, lake, Sri Radha Kunda, is the most exalted place. This is verified in a quotation from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Uttarakanda 45, as quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yatha Radha Priya Vishnos Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha Sarva Gopishu Saiveika Vishnu Ratyanta Vallabha. Just as Srimati Radharani is dear to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Vishnu, so her bathing place Radha Kunda is equally dear to Krishna. Among all the gopis, she alone stands supreme as the Lord's most beloved. Therefore, everyone interested in Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter of Radha Kunda and execute devotional service there throughout one's life. This is the conclusion of Rupa Goswami in the 10th verse of Upadesha Amrit. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Hare
Krishna. So this maybe you could get a little confused by reading this last part of the purport, where we see gopis are dejected, Krishna leaves them, and they spend the rest of their life simply crying in separation from Krishna. Does it make you confused? What is this? This is what we are aspiring for, that Krishna will one day leave us and leave us in great confusion and bewilderment, and will keep on crying in sadness. Is this what spiritual life is all about? So these things are to be realized as we go higher and higher. Particularly books like Brihad Bhagavatamritam, they clarify, from a devotee, Krishna is never separated, because Krishna cannot separate himself from a pure devotee. Yeah, Krishna and a pure devotee are never separated. So when Krishna goes away, that is called Vipralamba Seva. A devotee serving Krishna in separation experiences the highest bliss. So when Prabhupada is saying here, gopis became most dejected and spent the rest of their lives simply crying in separation from Krishna, he is only giving a hint of what the rest of the world sees. Rest of the world sees that, oh, devotees are all suffering a lot. But actually, Prabhupada adds just one hint here. This means that, in one sense, they were never actually separated from Krishna. Because Krishna's name, form, pastimes, qualities, activities, everything is non-different from each other. So when you are remembering Krishna always, Krishna is with you always. And Krishna is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, Akila Rasa Amrita Murti. So where Krishna is present 24 hours, there can be no suffering at all. So this is the highest form of enjoyment. It's called Vipralamba Seva, serving the Lord in separation. The Lord is not really separated from them, but it is appearing as though the Lord is separated. And in that mood, the highest bliss is experienced. This much only I can tell, because I have not experienced it. All of us should aspire to experience this quality with complete faith in the Bhakti scriptures, with complete faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. This is the purpose for which Prabhupada took all the trouble of going to the West at the ripe age of 70, because he has experienced it. And anyone who has experienced this highest bliss wants to share with others. And that's what Prabhupada does. His desire is only to share what is experienced, the enjoy. And he was sent from the spiritual world by the Supreme Lord for this purpose. He is Senapati Bhakta. Very, very empowered person to come and preach this message to us. And Radha Kunda, if you ask me to tell more about Radha Kunda, what can I say? Only I can say Radha Kunda was discovered by Mahaprabhu. In fact, all the holy places in Vrindavan had disappeared before Mahaprabhu came. When Mahaprabhu appeared, he sent these 6 Goswamis. He empowered them and sent them to Vrindavan to discover all the places of pastimes of Krishna, to mark them and to build temples and to write scriptures which will guide people to come to Vrindavan and to perform devotional service. And they did all these things. But Radha Kunda was not discovered by any of them. Radha Kunda was discovered personally by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to Vrindavan. He went to Vrindavan only once. He went to all the places and he cried and cried and cried in separation. He's Srimati Radharani, crying in separation, remembering all the pastimes of the Lord. And then he was searching, and people were wondering, Goswamis were wondering what he's searching. Then he found 2 puddles in the middle of a paddy field, muddy puddles, small puddles. He jumped into it and he bathed there and he started chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna with so much ecstasy. And then he revealed, this is Radha Kund. This is Radha Kund and Shyam Kund. Later on, Raghunath Das Goswami and other Goswamis, in cooperation, they excavated a large kunda there, this Radha Kunda and Shyam Kund. Today, they exist in the present shape because of the service of the Goswamis. So, Mahaprabhu discovered that Radha Kund, and that Radha Kund is the most dear to Srimati Radharani and naturally to Krishna. Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. You can imagine how much dear Radha Kunda is. We cannot really understand why it is so dear. A kunda, a small water body, how can it be so dear to Krishna? We cannot understand. And that is where our faith in the scripture, our faith in the parampara, our faith in the acharyas, that will come to our rescue. We have to have complete faith and we should desire to bathe in that Radha Kund. We should desire to bathe in that Radha Kund in our spiritual body, with all our spiritual emotions. I want to take a dip in that holy water. And I want to live on the banks of that Radha Kund. And so many descriptions of Radha Kund in its spiritual form is there in the Vaishnava scriptures. When you go to Vrindavan, you won't see any of them. But we have to see through the eyes of the scriptures, and that is what the process of Krishna consciousness is. The ears are the most potent instruments in Krishna consciousness, not the eyes. When Srila Prabhupada was in a place called Kosi in Vrindavan, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving classes, and there was an announcement. Those who want to take darshan of Vishnu, they have done some special decoration today. Those people can go. And our Guru will give lecture here. Those who want to stay can stay. Most of them left. Few people only stayed. Among the few people, our Srila Prabhupada. At that time, he was not initiated. Abhay Charan Day, he was present. And later on, other devotees also left one by one. Hours after hours, class was going on. And Prabhupada was sitting in full attention. Later on, when the time for initiation came and his name was recommended, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, yes, I will initiate him because he likes to hear. He likes to hear. So this is the way we will make spiritual progress. We should like to hear lectures of Prabhupada and lectures of all advanced devotees, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And that way we will make spiritual progress. Thank you very much. So we'll end the session here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. When bhakti is higher than gnana, then why gnana and vairagya are called the byproducts of bhakti, Prabhuji?
Yeah, byproduct is always inferior, right?
But gnana is also included. So I didn't understand that gnana.
This jnana and vairagya automatically happen. The jnana is what basically, I am not the body, I am a spirit soul. That is essentially jnana. That is essentially jnana. Bhakti is, I am an eternal servant of Krishna and I have to serve Krishna forever, whether I am in this material world or in the spiritual world. My business is to serve Krishna. That is bhakti. So jnana is automatically included in bhakti. And when it comes to vairagya, what does it mean? Vairagya means detachment from anything material and enjoying material things. So how is it possible in a devotee? Simply not possible. So it is repeatedly said, when someone takes to the bhakti path, jnana and vairagya come in front of that person and stand with folded arms and they beg, please accept us. Please accept our service. But the devotee doesn't even look at them.
I just wanted to know the difference between before reaching to the stage of bhakti, that gnana, and after coming to the pure stage of bhakti, the byproduct gnana. That two gnanas I didn't understand properly.
No, it is the same jnana. See, the same jnana is included within bhakti automatically. A bhakta performs yukta vairagya, so vairagya is automatically included there. Actually, a higher vairagya than falku vairagya. A devotee is the one who really has vairagya because he doesn't want to use anything for his own benefit, but he doesn't reject it if it can be used in the service of Krishna. And that similarly, that jnana is the same jnana where he sees the entire material world is temporary, transient, full of misery, what Krishna recommends. That much jnana. He doesn't go into the analysis of Sankhya. You know, in Sankhya, we talk about the 24 elements, 23 elements, and what is beyond. He doesn't engage in the Sankhya business. It is automatically available to him for a bhakta because he doesn't care for it. He doesn't care for it, but it is inherent in a bhakta. It is the same jnana only. But Bhakta has a different jnana. What is that different jnana? His love for Krishna is that jnana. His love for Krishna, his love for all the associate devotees of Krishna, and his desire to serve them, he has only this jnana. And rest of the spiritual pastimes are orchestrated by Yogamaya. The entire jnana Yogamaya takes. And what does Yogamaya do? She does whatever is required to bring out the devotion from the heart of these pure devotees, to manifest in so many ways. That is what Yogamaya is doing. Pure devotion exists in the heart of every pure devotee in the spiritual world. What Yogamaya does is to manifest. She creates situations in such a way that this the love of God can manifest in unlimited ways from the hearts of people. For that, she is organizing pastimes in the spiritual world. So there, this material jnana has no role to play. So what is important for us aspiring devotees, we should not try to cultivate jnana separately. When we cultivate bhakti, whatever requisite jnana, it will come to us automatically.
Okay.
Same way, vairagya, we don't try to cultivate. It will automatically come, in the sense we will no longer have the desire to enjoy sense gratification. But all material things we will see in association with Krishna. Like, for example, Sita Devi, when Ravana saw, he saw her as an object of his personal enjoyment. She's the energy of the Lord. She's the energy of the Lord. But Ravana sees it as an object of enjoyment. But when Hanumanji goes to the forest Ashokavan and he sees Sita Devi, immediately he worships her, and his only aspiration is, oh, she is the property of my Lord Ram. How can I reunite her with him? That is called Yukta Vairagya. Vairagya is to reject everything. But Yukta Vairagya means to connect everything to the Supreme Lord. The energy of the Lord, I want to connect with him. So the entire material world is the energy of the Lord. We saw the third energy, right? Bahiranga Shakti. So we have to use the Bahiranga Shakti in the service of the Supreme Lord. That is what a devotee does. Is it okay?
Yes, Mat Prabhuji. He is not simply rejecting, but he is accepting it for the sake of Lord.
From the point of view of service,
Okay.
not enjoyment.
Okay.
The enjoyment spirit has gone from the devotee long ago. Now he is seeing everything as a property of Krishna. And they are useful in the service of Krishna. So where is sense enjoyment for him? It's gone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And Anil Prabhu, are you coming to this class for the first time, or have you been here before?
Last week also I attended, Prabhu.
Okay, but have you attended our Bhakti Vriksha, etc.? Can you give me a little background?
No, Prabhu. I met you in your Bhagavatam class at the temple that day. Me and Vani, both of us.
Oh, thank you for joining. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I'm so glad.
We're really grateful that we are able to attend this, and
Jai, okay.
I think definitely this is giving more clarity. Like you said, Shravanam is very important. I think this gives a lot of clarity, because when we read it with our own preconceived ideas and all prejudices and all, and we evaluate. Bhagavad Gita I have read before, but I never understood it in this light. So now I'm getting to understand from people who are enlightened in the Krishna conscious movement, and I'm really thankful to Lord Krishna that he brought me into this path.
Thank you. Please continue to give us your association in future.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Ganesha Amrita ki jai, Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Hare Krishna.